Hello. Sorry for the wait. I just had to get myself a cup of tea real quick, you know what I'm saying? Woo. How you guys doing? Hope you guys doing well as always. What's up, Henry, bro? Bro, I can't lie. It has been a minute since you made a live. You are right. I feel like I've been streaming too late for you these days, but honestly,
Is he asleep?
yeah, he won't sleep. Yeah. Anyway, what was I saying? I'll be real, Kyle, bro. I don't know what Usopp's got for you, bro. No, niggas are saying that Brook is gonna steal his shine. That's what niggas are saying. That's what people are telling me, bro. People are telling me that Usopp's about to steal his shine. I don't know how true that is, but what it do? Lemonade tea. What's up? Flashback over, about to start this final battle on Elbaf. Some good shit. Some good shit. Can't lie, the way Usopp's talking, bro, about his dream and all that, like, just seeing Elbaf and seeing them have Warriors Pride is enough for him, bro. A whole island of people like Dory and Broggy that I first saw in Little Garden. As long as I've seen that, it's enough for me. I can die peacefully, bro. That's the way he's moving, bro. But I still got a little bit of faith in him. A little bit. I think he's gonna have a moment. There's no way that in Elbaf he has less of a moment than he did in like Dressrosa. He has to have a God Usopp moment. You know what I mean? You are right, Sneaky Noah. It is Zoro season. For the next 2 weeks, it will be Zoro season, man. Because, you know, when Zoro has a plan, shit's about to go down. And that's how it is, man. That's how it is. Literally, as soon as I saw Zoro say, I got a plan, first thing I thought of, verse Pika. This guy was making up plans to try to get him. Plan 5, bro. Just remember, when it comes to Zoro, the 5th plan is the winning plan. You know what I'm saying? And that plan is always the same thing. Cut them down. That's it. That's all he's about. Just violence. That's all he's on, bro. It's just smoke. Bro, this is smoky season right now, bro. Smoky timing right now. What the fuck is going outside of my window? The fuck? But what do you guys think the matchups are? That's what I'm thinking. Because now that the battle's starting, we got like a whole map of where everyone is. What are like the outside of the obvious, okay, Luffy versus Emu and Loki, whatever. What are the other matchups that you guys want to see? Because right now it seems like Zoro's going to be fighting Dory and Broggy. Or at the very least he's going to kick off that fight. I don't know if it's going to end off that way, but at the very least it's going to kick off that way. So what other matchups are we anticipating? Do you think Usopp's gonna hold Ragnar? I feel like it would be a missed opportunity if he didn't, you know. I genuinely feel like it would be a missed opportunity. I think Usopp needs to have that one defining moment that makes him genuinely that brave warrior in the sea. That makes him feel like he's now heading in that right direction. Because in Little Garden, that's what he wanted to be, but he didn't say, okay, I haven't taken that step yet. But Elbaf genuinely has to be, at the very least, if it's not him becoming a brave warrior of the sea, it has to be his genuine first step. Because everything else before in the story, there just been moments, flashes. It's like when Usopp goes into the zone. His zone moments are like verse Mr. 4. You know what I'm saying? Soggy King. He goes into his zone a little bit. But it's not a consistent thing. So I feel like Elbaf has to be the moment in which bravery for Usopp becomes a consistent thing moving forward. I feel like him holding Ragnar, or like just a big defining moment that just shows his bravery. It doesn't have to be something crazy of strength, but like a crazy like strength thing, but it just has to be something just ultra defining. After seeing Elbaf back to what he wants, just trust my man, don't worry. But that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, he saw Elbaf turn back to what he wanted, what it was supposed to be, and then his eyes lit up. It's like he's in heaven, you know? Prime Zoro still loses to Whitebeard. Prime Zoro versus Ryuma versus Oz. Who you got, Zage? I don't know. When did they even say Oz, like Oz the Third? When did they even say he was around? I don't even remember. Can't lie. I might have to go on a quick wiki one for that. Let me search it up. Plus, Zoro and Ryuma probably didn't. Actually, I was about to say they probably didn't intersect, but they probably did. Now that I think about it. What's this guy's history? He was born over 500 years ago. Damn. So Oz was still kind of young around when Zoro was the strongest. He was still kind of young. 200 years in human years for Elbaf is what? What did they say? They said like it was like 3 times. So in human years he'd be... I guess he'd be kind of old. 60 or something. 66. Bro, Oz was definitely his strongest soldier. That's 100% a fact. But of those 3, I can't lie, that's actually a pretty like... That could be like, once I get like more info on all these guys, like, that could be like a decent combo. Like a decent like video topic. So... But I'll probably still take Ryuma. I think Ryuma probably still has better lore about him, to be honest. Am I really gonna take Zoro over the God of the Blade? I'll be real, it's kind of like an aura difference, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if this is the aura thing, bro, I'll be real. At the very least. Let me see if Oz has any interesting statements in his Vibra card. Let me see. Da, 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 da. One second. Might be some good info here. With a colossal body that surpasses even giants, he plunders entire islands, a berserker boasting an unprecedented, out-of-scale magnitude. Some 500 years ago, through outrageous acts of plunder, a giant who cast the world into an age of terror and devastation. Feared and awed and praised by villains, he was the only being in history to be called a demon god. Damn. A legendary existence. Discovered by Moria after freezing to death in an ice country, he was revived as a zombie. The world once again seemed poised to tremble in fear at Oz, but instead he was rendered completely incapacitated by the Straw Hat Pirates. However, in the new world, the existence of descendants who inherit the blood of the demon god has also been confirmed. Damn, I can't lie, that's some kind of crazy hype, I can't lie. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Yo, Oz is moving like that. Wait, let me see another translation of this. Yeah, Oz, I can't lie, Oz had some aura, fam. That's crazy. He's more than approximately 3 times the size of giants and possesses unparalleled, unusual physical characteristics such as horns and fangs. So just an ancient giant. Okay, it doesn't literally say demon god, but it's like a demonic being. It's like a demonic being. That's kind of crazy. And Zoro was stronger than that. Wow. At least at that time. He was a sole figure in history to be called a demon. Or a demon god. Demonic being, bro. This guy's crazy. I can't lie, Kyle, that's a good question, bro. I might have to run a poll. I might have to run a poll saying Oz. I don't think people even know all these statements or whatever, but yeah, I think Enel is returning at the end of the arc, or is timing still not right, bro? Bro, this Enel talk, I'm so sick of it, bro. I'm so sick of it. You guys remember during Wano, bro, where we had that little like hidden Oda like hid Hiyori's face and people were tracing over it to make it look like it could have been Enel. That shit was funny, bro. That shit was funny. You would thought Adele could come back in one. In Wano. I don't think it would be a pointless poll if I really did that, bro. You're right, people probably wouldn't think about that matchup too much. Let me see other statements that Oz has. Can't lie. I might just look into some statements that Oz has. I'll post on my community page if I don't say them here. Low key. Kind of like Harold, didn't Harold you might catch that fade from Oz, low key, bro. You might. After striking down nations, he carried them back island by island, gathered villains and built a country. That country is said to still exist even now. Damn, bro. Is that talking about Elbaf or something else? Elbaf's been around though. I don't know. Let me see what you guys say. Sanji against Sommers and Zoro against Killingham, but he's against Dorian Broggy and Emu/Gunko against Luffy and Loki. Why? I've seen people say Zoro versus Killingham, but I don't really understand why that's a matchup. I saw Morge's video yesterday. He was saying Killingham versus Usopp. I kind of liked how he matched it up. Kind of like how he said Usopp versus Killingham kind of worked because of the nightmares and shit. He said that he basically drew a parallel between Killingham and Perona. Kind of liked it. Can't lie. Well, at the very least, like, Usopp's involved in that fight. Not necessarily 1v1, but he's involved. I hope Luffy doesn't fight Emu/Gunko. He needs to fight Emu's true form and not some avatar. Yeah, why not both, bro? Why not both? Justice League be fighting Darkseid's avatar and the real being at the same time, bro. Or at least I think they do. And Luffy could just fight both of them. Bro, Rhodes being your favorite giant is crazy. That guy's a joke, man. I'm be real. I can see why you like him though. He's kind of funny. Let me pull up the chapter. Oh. Carl, I don't really care about One Piece currently. JJK right now is cooking. Carl, I haven't read Modulo yet. I said I was gonna start reading Modulo once Yuji comes back. I saw Yuji came back. He's on Demon Time, so I will be reading it soon. I will be reading it. Cool. So Gaban says our foe's number 3 and their mission is to kidnap 10 giant children. They mean to take the children to the Holy Land and use them as hostages to coerce the warriors of Elbafin to be in their battle slaves. The woman of the trio has strange powers using arrows. It seems that wherever these arrows point, the children are helpless to resist. They're walking ceaselessly towards the port in the western village. If they get to the boat, they can lose us at sea, and then it's all over. That's the true end point of the situation. So pretty much the aim of the battle is beat these guys before the children get on the boat, before they sail away. That's pretty much the stakes of this battle. Go see what Bronclay do to those goose. Do you sense something? What was he doing? Swans helping themselves to Bronclay's makeup. I don't get it. What am I supposed to see? What are these geese doing? I'm just helping them with his makeup. Oh, one's... Oh, no. I can't... If you never pointed out, I would not have clocked. One's got Emu's crown and one's got a straw hat. Well, at least it looks like Emu's crown. Fair play. I don't think it means anything though. What could it mean? I don't know what it could mean. Actually, does Bonclay wear a crown? I don't think he does. When Oda shows the maps, it might be up in terms of pacing. I can't lie, I can't really see the pacing being too bad in this battle. It seems like the battle it's not that heavy. The battle's not. It doesn't seem like it's gonna be that heavy. I think it's higher than saying seems quicker to aim for the 3 causing all the problems. You say they're immortal, but there has to be a way to stop them. Like trapping them in something or crushing them or eating them. I agree with that. Who's saying that? I agree with that. So is there going to be other ways of restraining like the immortal guys, if not for like Konkataki? Is that basically what they're saying? Like for example, like trapping the Seraphim in those bubbles, similar to that. Could there be a situation where that happens? Zoro needs to demonstrate his advanced conqueror's haki against a holy knight, so killing him is the obvious choice. Killing him also looks stronger than Summers, and Zoro typically fights the stronger subordinate. Yeah, but he can do the same thing against Dorian Broggy. I feel like people think that. I feel like most people think now, after like we saw Domi Reversi Zebek, that the Domi Reversi guys don't have regen. But I don't know if that's true, because Emu says that he gifts them undying bodies. It wasn't really emphasized that way when Zebek became Domi Reversed, but it could just be that Domi Reversi, like Dorian Broggy, also have the same sort of regen that the Holy Knights do, and Zoro can still take him out using Conqueror's Haki. It can effectively be the same thing. So I don't think the Holy Knights are stronger than Dorian Broggy, like Domi Reversi. Actually, I don't even think they're stronger than Dorian Broggy, like normally. Let alone Domi Reversi. I'll be honest. I don't really have that feeling. Could be wrong, but yeah, I agree, Carl. I think Dorian Broggy do have the regen as well. So I think effectively it could be still the same thing. Oh, you're saying the geese with the straw hat and the crown could be about Joy Boy and Emu being on the same crew? I don't know about that. Or maybe they're of the same. Maybe they're related. They're part of the same clan or whatever. Like Kingdom, and then Joy Boy defected. Maybe, I don't know. I know everyone's expecting an Unga Bunga plan from Zoro, but what are the chances Oda actually has Zoro come up with a well thought out plan? It's a good question. It's a good question. I don't think it's that high, if I'm being honest. I think Zoro's track record of plans generally just involve him doing something crazy. Even if it is a well thought out plan, I still think it would include him just doing something destructive. And with Elbaf just being an island where everything is just huge, there's a lot of big things for Zoro to cut. So him pulling off some destructive shit, it's like one way or another it's gonna happen, you know. His nightmare's going crazy, his nightmare monster's going crazy. Dorian Broggy was on board when the monsters down the ship as they fought back. Cool, so this is pretty much where everyone is. Yeah, I don't know, even with this map, I don't know. I don't think the pacing should be too bad. There isn't that many perspectives. I don't feel like there are too many perspectives to the point in which the pacing might be a problem. I don't know. Maybe. So Sanji's trying to go to the library where the Straw Hats are. That's Sal's around there as well, and the school is burning. Dory and Broggy are heading to the western village where Jiro is. Zoro, Hirodin, and the others caught up to them, so somewhere around there as well. The kids are near the port. Zoro's probably gonna intercept whoever. Probably gonna intercept Dory and Broggy maybe as well. Try to get to the kids because the giants are fighting back. Where do they say the emu and the others are? Where are they? Have they not moved? They're near the port, I think. Even in the others. I can't lie, Zoro and these guys got there kind of quickly, bro. These guys were, at least based on this map, they were kind of far away. They got there kind of quickly. Oh, here's Emu. Oh, Emu's kind of in the middle. They're going towards... No, this is Dory and Broggy. Ah, actually, no. Cool, so they're actually not that far from Dory and Broggy. Dory and Broggy are like kind of in the middle. I don't know. Dory and Broggy as a duo are certainly stronger than Killingham. However, as Roger hinted, armament seems to be a counter to Domi Reversi. On the other hand, only Advanced Conquest seems to work against the Covenant Holder. I don't know. I mean, I do kind of agree to some extent. To some extent, I kind of agree, but I don't know. It depends how we see the interaction between Dory and Broggy, like how they fare. I haven't read the chapter. Did they make it clear that there are specific duos teamed up, or is this fan consensus? There kinda are loose teams, kind of. So you have Gaban, Sanji going towards, well, at the very least, Sanji is going towards the library. Zoro Hyridin is, they're going to Dory and Broggy, or they're about to pass Dory and Broggy. Rhodes is going towards the port to get his brother, because he's part of one of the kids. What's her name again? This female giant. Fuck. Yeah, so Rodo's going towards the port, and then whatever, Hyridin's crew is also going with them. Sanji's going towards the school. I guess Gaban, I think Gaban's probably going to go with Rhoda actually. He's probably not going to be with Sanji. He's going towards the port to get Colin. Good, that's her name, yeah. A well thought out plan that ends in a slash, that's my goat. Yeah, it's probably going to be something like that, to be honest. I could honestly see him doing something like getting them to the sea so the effective Domi reverse gets undone maybe. Yeah, but they're kind of far away from the sea. Kind of far. Do you think Zoro and Sanji versus Dory and Broggy is possible? I wouldn't say it's impossible, but right now it doesn't really seem that likely it's going to happen. It don't really seem that likely. It kind of depends how quickly. I don't know. I don't. The only way Sanji gets involved in that sort of fight is if whoever's gonna be getting in his way when he gets to the Straw Hats, whether it be Summers. I think it's Summers and them guys that are there. I think Summers, Emu and them guys are there. Whatever they're doing depends. Like if Sanji deals with them kind of quickly, which I doubt he will. I think it'll just be Summers, bro. If Sanji's gonna get Conqueror's Haki in this arc, he's probably gonna do it against Summers. So I don't really see it happening, to be honest. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it doesn't really seem probable right now. Low-key, this is kind of make or break. This might be make or break for Sanji getting Conqueror's Haki, bro. If this guy does not get Conqueror's Haki in this arc, I don't even know how likely he even is for him to get it, to be honest. At that part, I'll start doubting it. I'll be like, I don't know. I mean, I know Gabon has it, but I don't know. Zoro vs Dory and Sanji vs Broggy after Sanji fights Summers. Yeah, like the closest I could even think to something like that that's ever happened. It's like Enies Lobby where Sanji fought Khalifa, but that doesn't even count. You know, like Sanji gets whooped by Khalifa, and then he comes in last second when Zoro was fighting like Kaku and Jabra at the same time, but I don't think that's even similar enough situations for that to even happen, to be honest. I think Summers will be enough of a problem for someone like a Sanji that it would take up quite a bit of time. Especially with the region. That's predominantly what it's probably going to be. I don't think Summers is that good of a fighter, to be honest. He kind of seems like a regen merchant. Can't lie. What's up, Waldo? What's up? Where's my goat kid at? He's swimming with the fishes right now, bro. I'm sorry to say, bro. He's swimming with the fishes. Bro, if this guy Zoro just whoops Dory and Broggy, like, alright, that's kind of nasty, bro. Can't lie. That is kind of crazy, bro, if he just whoops them. This Zoro speech is pretty good. I'm trying to figure out where these guys even are, bro. Is Emu with the kids or is he at the library? I can't even tell. He's with the Domi Reversi Giants. I think he's close to where Dory and Broggy are actually. But I can't tell where they are on the map. Is these three here that are supposed to be Emu and these guys? I think the three that are like right here. If I was zooming in, Like, you see where the X mark is right bang in the middle. That might be... Oh, no. Or was it this, or was it these three? That are on the branch? I can't even tell. How strong is Domirasi, Dorian Broggy? In my opinion, bare minimum commander. Bordering YC1. Dorian Broggy. These guys are running the new world 100 years ago. Can't lie, if them two and Domirasi are like around YC1, the sea back then was ass, bro. I don't even think that sounds right, I'll be honest. It doesn't even sound right. Like, can you imagine, bro, like a Katakuri and King level guys like just running the sea 100 years ago? Sounds kind of sounds butt, to be honest. I think they should be stronger than that, to be honest. That's what I think. Any chance we see Domirasi Zoro, I think it would be a great way to give exposition on what exactly Ashura is. That's unlikely. There's no way Zoro becomes Domirasi. No way. I don't see it. I think the only one that probably has a chance of getting Domirasi is Loki. I think Loki getting Domirasi to kind of parallel rocks a bit might be where it goes, and then Brook does something to Gunko, Emu leaves, and then Loki's kind of the main person to beat at the end. Like, what the country thought of Loki being that big villain, he might end up being that big villain, like, against his will. But then this time, Luffy kind of like liberates him or whatever. Some say it's Conqueror's Haki, others say it's an illusion. So actually, I got... There has been descriptions of what Ashura is. Let me see if I can find some of the statements for it. I think the way Ashura is described, it's like a form of what Zoro's Conqueror's Haki looks like, but let me find. Cool, so this is from Daybook Yellow. So this is what it says about Ashura. 9 sword style. By unleashing a fearsome fighting spirit, he makes the enemy see the phantom image of the demon god Ashura. 3-faced and 6-armed. With demonic spirit added even to his 3 swords, this is Zoro's new realm of swordsmanship. And then the move that he used to beat Kaku is described as 9 blades born from the phantom aura are beyond anyone's ability to see through. Every strike is driven straight into the enemy's vital points. But yeah, the way that Kaku explains it, he basically just says that it's like Zoro's spirit manifested, and that's what Rayleigh says Conqueror's Haki is the user's spirit manifested. Water, bro, I'm not hitting you with ads, bro. It's just automatic. It's just that's what YouTube does, bro. How strong do you think Zoro is compared to his Wano version? I think currently he's basically the same. I think in this arc he's gonna have major improvements. I don't think he's that different to what he was in Wano. Maybe marginally a bit stronger, but because maybe his fight with Lucci, I don't know, he got a little bit of experience, a little bit stronger, but I think he's more or less the same. Like, same goes for pretty much all the Straw Hats. I don't think they've got much stronger after Egghead, to be honest. Who do you think would win, Big Mom versus Zoro and Sanji? Depends what Big Mom we're talking about, bro. Are we saying Big Mom or Wano? or low accurate Big Mom? We're talking about low accurate Big Mom, I don't know, but the one on Wano, they probably would beat her. Yeah, they probably would. I don't know how that matchup would look like though, to be honest. Like Kid and Law kind of had like moves that work well in tandem to put her down, but I don't know how Zoro and Sanji's abilities would interact in a way that would be very effective like Kid and Law was. I'm not sure, to be honest. Zoro end of Wano versus him now is a high diff, still end of Elbaf, making it mid diff. Zoro's getting closer to that Kaido level soon. Oh no, I don't think really Zoro's really done anything since one up until now to really separate himself really and truly. Like from what he was before. I think they're just more or less the same, to be honest. If anything, I think this is the arc where he goes up a tier, but I don't know about before. What do you think he is overall then? Like where the other one is Zoro at, or current Zoro vs Shanks is what difficulty? Bro, Shanks is whooping Zoro, bro. That's not a close fight. Sorry. It's not a close fight. He might not get whooped like Kid did, but even then it'd probably be damn near close to that. Do you remember what chapter was stated the Straw Hats get stronger each island, and what's your opinion on that statement? I don't know the chapter off the top of my head, but it's in any Asobi somewhere. I just think what Zoro is saying was is Zoro he's the one that says it, but like broadly speaking with that statement, it's more so like they go into these extreme fights in which they're forced to grow and get stronger. But I don't think it's just a thing where it's like, oh, they're just journeying around, they enter a new island, they do nothing, they come out of it and they're just stronger by virtue of going to another island. It's about what happens on those islands that they've been to, you know what I mean? Like when the Straw Hats went from Dressrosa to Zou, and then Zou to wherever they went, whether it be Wano or Hoki Island, I don't think they got stronger just because they were sailing around the sea. You know what I mean? Like there's things that happen on those islands that push them. But right now, in Egghead, Zoro didn't really get pushed at all by Lucci. He didn't get pushed, so it was like a decent fight, but he didn't really get pushed to his limit. And like other arcs, they get pushed to their limits, and then those limits they pass, and that's how they get stronger. I could find that statement. I think there's a couple of statements like that. I don't even think it's just. I don't think it's just that one. Let me find it. Yeah, Nami says the island's full of gods. He isn't Luffy. Alone, his life is in, I guess she was about to say in danger. And then Zoro says each time we've passed an island, we've grown stronger. And each time he's been on an island, he's cheated death. No one who dies easily would still be with us. So yeah, I think there's another statement just like that one. Maybe it was in... Let me see. Yeah, but it's about that cheating death. That cheating death aspect. Let me see. Sanji uses blue flames in base now, and Luffy could use gear 4 in base 2, so I think they got stronger since Egghead. That's what I'm saying, like they could have got a little bit, but I don't know if it's that significant, to be honest. I don't think Luffy using mini gear 4 is some significant growth. Even Sanji using flame and base, I think he could probably have done that in Wano, to be honest. He probably could have. It's just that he needed that invisible speed to counter Queen's invisibility. But I remember when I did like a Sanji video, I did like Sanji, I think it was in my Sanji vs King video, and someone brought that up in the comments. It's like technically Sanji doesn't actually need that invisible speed to use the blue flame if for Jambe. So I was like, that's actually a good point. We just haven't seen him do it until like Egghead. So I don't think it's a thing that he learnt per se. What would Law Accurate Big Mom be like? Law Accurate Big Mom would be like Kaido, to be honest. That's the best way of putting it. Damn, you're asking me a lot of these what if matchups. Zoro versus wait Shanks 1v versus 1v2 versus Mihawk and Zoro, who wins? What? Bro, I already think Mihawk beats Shanks by himself. Why does he need Zoro's help? What the hell? No, Zoro free Dorian Broggy from Doyurasi States. I personally don't think so, but it would be good to see Zoro maintain King of Hell mode for a longer period of time. I think he should be able to do that. I think he should. There's no reason. Unless Dorian Broggy are just that cracked, which could be the case, but I think ultimately it probably will be Zoro that frees them. Well, at least someone with like very strong haki. So like Luffy and Loki are preoccupied with Imu. Next best thing, it would be like Gabano or Zoro, but Gaban's gonna go save his kids, so Zoro has like the best haki. He can deal with Dorian Buggy, you know? With Zoro being able to maintain King of Hell mode for an entire fight, how much of a boost is that? I don't think he was using it all that much against Lucci on Egghead. It depends how... I don't know. Because I think if Zoro's able to use King of Hell for like a much longer period of time, it would probably suggest that he himself got a lot stronger. But to what extent? That's the thing. Like with something like that, it's so vague. You would need Zoro to match up against someone so I can actually like kind of quantify that difference. You know what I mean? But against Lucci, he kind of seemed like he was just turning it on and off. And also, I've said this in the past as well. I think someone like Zoro, who at least I don't think he's mastered Enma yet. I think the best way for him to use King of Hell is for like finishes. Is the best way of him doing it. He could just turn it on and off, so he's not draining his life. So whenever he's about to land like a big hit, he just quickly puts his Conqueror's Haki on, or uses the King of Hell move, and then boom. I'm also not sure about if Zoro just coating his swords in Conqueror's Haki like regularly and a King of Hell style move. If those two things could be different levels of drains, they can drain Zoro differently. So if Zoro was being a bit more, I don't want to say like restrictive, but if he was being a little bit more passive with the amount of power he's using, him just using like Conqueror's Haki but not like the green flames that associate King of Hell, that could be a way in which like he kind of reserves himself whilst also using big attacks for later on in the fights. I feel Zoro needs a better opponent. It would shock me if Oda brought back Shamrock. I think Dorian Broggy are supposed to be good opponents, but Dorian Broggy, like even individually, they're kind of strong, bro. I'll be honest. Like as they are, they're already kind of strong. At the very least, like they were relevant in like holding back someone like a Walkery. So if they're relevant in something like that, and then they get Domi Reversied on top of it, they're already pretty strong. I think Shamrock, bro, like let's be real, bro. Shamrock, we just view him as someone really, really strong, but really and truly, like I'm not saying that he would be weaker than Dorian Broggy or whatever, but even then, if you fight Shamrock, you're gonna need to know how strong Shamrock is for you to even feel that, oh, Zoro's fighting up against a big opponent, you know? Like Dorian Broggy, them having a bit of action in Egghead, showing what they can do against some of the Gorosei, is still a better feel of their strength than whatever you got from Shamrock right now. The most we got from Shamrock is him injuring like a restrained Loki, like a chained up Loki, and he thinks he could put the paws on him, but we all know that's fucking cap, so it's like, you know what I mean? I think Dorian Broggy are good opponents, honestly. At that point, I'll be honest, like him beating Dorian Broggy is like, okay, it depends. I'm not saying it'll be to this level of ease, but like Green Bull like beating King and Queen kind of comfortably, whatever, even if you want to say they're injured, whatever. But him beating them kind of comfortably, and Zoro beating a Domi Reversi like Dorian Broggy, if that's what he actually does, he just outright beats them. That's some good shit. Because I'll probably say Domi Reversi, Dorian Broggy are probably stronger than King and Queen as like a duo. They're definitely like a stronger duo. So even if it is difficult for Zoro to beat someone like these giants, That's still some pretty good shit, if you look at it that way. Who do you think wins, Zoro or Yamato? Kind of like questions like these get me in trouble, you know? They kind of get me in trouble. But if I'm being completely honest, I'd say Yamato has better feats, if I'm being real. I would say that Yamato has shown better feats, but... And I would be confident in saying by the end of Elbaf, Zoro is definitely stronger than her, like, pretty clearly. But prior to which, it's kind of hard to say. Do you think Sanji will get Conqueror's Haki? Personally, I hate this fraud getting it, but considering Gabbana has it, Sanji will get it probably. Yeah, I'll be honest. I think Zoro getting Conqueror's Haki. Sanji getting Conqueror's Haki at this point is borderline a foregone conclusion. It's borderline like foregone. Like the fact that Gabbana has it pretty much makes it so that Sanji will have it, pretty much. Especially if he's going to be relevant against any of these Holy Knight fights, or like even a potential Gorosei matchup in the final war. It wouldn't really make sense if he doesn't have it. Unless there is like another way of actually putting them down. But who knows, you know, who knows. The Roger Pirates didn't find a way, but those guys aren't Delphi users. They don't really have any specific like unique abilities, but neither are the Elbaf guys, to be fair, against Harold. Oda gave them new bounties so they could be proper Zoro victims. Yeah, that's another good point, to be fair. Like Dory and Broggy getting like 1.8 billion berry bounties, some pretty good shit. Like, put it into perspective, it's a higher bounty than people like Boa Hancock, Marco, King, Queen, Katakuri. Like, they're kind of high up. Even if you want to say like, okay, they had like more clout in their era than those guys. That's why they're feared more by the government, but... And not to use like bounties as like a power level by any means, but you know, it kind of gives you that idea that Dory and Broggy, even in their base states, they're kind of like pretty cracked, especially if they're together. That's what I'm saying, like individually, I think they're pretty strong already. So if Zoro's fighting these two as a duo, he's 1v2ing these guys, and he has a tough battle, he ends up beating these guys, his Conqueror's Haki improves as a result of it. I think it's a good fight, honestly. I don't want to do this thing where it's like, I feel like people do this a lot, where they don't really have a high opinion of a character until they fight or they match up against a character they like, and then just by virtue of them going up against a character they like, they have to upscale them in whatever way possible to make them seem like they're kind of relevant. You know what I mean? Dory and Broggy, even before like seeing this chapter in the past, I think Dory and Broggy are pretty strong. Like, they ain't got the craziest feats of all time, but they're decent, you know. I think a way to quantify the gains of King of Hell provides is being able to confidently say that Zoro would be able to replicate Yamato's feat of holding off Kaido for a long time, because of the boost he got when he fought King after unlocking King of Hell. It was a stark difference versus when first got Kaido. Yeah, but that's the thing, like Zoro hasn't actually done something like holding back a Kaido level guy, so it's kind of hard to put those words with any sort of substantiation behind it, you know what I mean? Like the closest you can even say to something like that is like him against Zoro. Even then, it's like one clash, and Jinbei threw him to get there. I don't know. And he used a named attack, and Zoro didn't even use a named attack. He just blocked it, and then they mutually got sent flying. But it's like the most you have against Zoro, against the top tier post Wano. So big super chat from Black Lion. Appreciate you, bro. He says Oda's gonna make up another way for Sanji and the rest because he didn't make enough Konkritaki uses for the final war. I don't know, man. I don't know. I see what you're saying. I think someone like okay. I think a good example for this sort of thought experiment would be someone like Law. I think Law has. I would, at the very least, personally, I would anticipate Law fighting one of the Gorosei in the final war, personally. Or maybe if you want to gas it, say that he goes up against Imu for a bit, but I doubt it. I don't think he's gonna be that relevant by the end, but Law is still a pretty relevant character. But the reason why I say he's gonna fight like a major celestial dragon, obviously he's one of the main World Generation guys of the new era, but he's also a member of the D, and that's their natural enemy. He wants to know the meaning of D. Those are the guys that he was fated to fight, so it kind of makes sense. Law doesn't have, or at the very least, we don't know him to be a conqueror. He could be a conqueror in disguise, who knows. But the OP no Mi is just such a broken ability where it's like he might be able to surgically find out like a method to incapacitating them even without Konkritaki. But someone like Sanji, like, bro, it's just flames. He's just a like a superhuman. And that's basically what he is. He's a superhuman guy with a fiery leg. I don't really see something like that being an ability that can make up for not having Konkritaki and something that be effective against someone like a Gorosei or Holy Knight. You know what I mean? I was also thinking about Sabo. Sabo could also fight one of them as well. People already think Sabo could fight like Shamrock or maybe one of the Gorosei or whatever. And like for Sabo, he most likely is a conqueror. I don't think it's gonna be even if Sabo's not a conqueror. Okay, cool. That might be a way of saying that, like, okay, Sanji might find a way of damaging these guys without a devil fruit. But the Sanji thing is gonna come first anyway. Sanji fighting against a Holy Knight is gonna come first before we see Sabo have any feats. We already know what Sabo's game is like anyway, bro. Sabo's game is not showing feats. It's just frauding his way, but less of the Sabo slander, but you get my point. I would bet on Sabo being a conqueror before I think his Merit no Mi has some unique ability that Ace couldn't figure out to damage one of these guys. You know what I mean? One of these reject guys. But someone like Law, I can believe, has some, I don't know, bro. That guy Law has a deep bag. He could develop some new awakening ability that just allows him to target their flipping soul for all we know. So, also Sanji's parallel to Gaban is just so strong at this point that there's not really a point doubting him being a conqueror at this point until after this arc. If he ends this arc and he doesn't have Konkritaki, then at that point I'm putting question marks over it. But the possibility it would still be there because of Gaban. But to what extent I'd believe that to be the case is obviously will dwindle a little bit, but you know. I just don't feel it's right having to fight Dory and Broggy, hence why I said probably keeping them at bay. I just don't know if I could see Oda Wright and Zoro going 1v2 against them. Maybe they are too strong. I can't lie, like, you can't sleep on these giants, bro. Dory and Broggy are like literally, after Loki and Harold, they're literally the two most prominent giants. They're not ancient giants, but they're very strong in their own right. Them niggas were ruling the New World 100 years ago. So, like, you could be right. Like, maybe he doesn't, like, outright beat them. Maybe he holds them off for some sort of other resolution. But I feel like if Zoro's gonna fight them 1v2, I wouldn't bet against Zoro not being able to beat them. I'll just say, okay, that's what Oda's doing. He's gonna have Zoro beat them. Even if it sounds like unbelievable, he's just gonna do it. Like, it's Zoro, bro. At the end of the day, like, some things are just that simple. If Zoro says he's gonna do something, beat someone, he probably is gonna beat them, bro. Unless he has some sort of weakness against that person that you can't overcome, but he kind of has all the tools right now, so I don't really see it. Also, I actually like this fight for another reason as well, because it kind of goes into Jiro's speech. Like, Jiro's speech, I fuck with it. So the whole thing about Harold and what he wanted to do is that he went too far in his ambition. He wanted Elbaf to join with the rest of the world, but Harold's pursuit went too far the other way, in which that warrior's pride of an Elbaf giant kind of deteriorated. So the kids that we see in the school are kind of like a consequence of Harold's ambition. That's why Jiro is telling the kids to cover your ears, because that's not what Harold wanted, but that's who we are. Even Ida, one of her final words to Harold was like, she likes that whole warrior's pride thing. She wasn't advocating for Harold to abandon his culture. No, I think that's too far. So Ida says, children studying hard, bright and cheerful laughter. It's like a different country completely. Harold says, old practices, strange customs. We ought to throw out all the bad habits of our warrior past. She says, really? But I like the warrior's pride. I think it's cool. You ought to treasure your culture. But what about the fact that you and I weren't allowed to marry? I've never gotten over that. So, like, Harold, his heart was in the right place, but it went too far. He was looking for a country of peace so that he can join with the rest of the world, so the rest of the world don't fear Elbaf, but at the expense of removing a part of Elbaf that makes Elbaf Elbaf, which is that pride that they have as warriors. That's why when Jiro said cover your ears, I fuck with it, bro. Cover your ears, bro, because what I'm about to say is not what you grew up on, but that's who we are. And then Usopp being happy about this is the Elbaf that he loved. Here it is, the Elbaf I love is back. Even early on in the arc, when like Luffy and Usopp, they went to the school and they saw how the kids were, bro, they were disappointed, bro. They were like, this is not what I was expecting. Do you know what I mean? And in Little Garden, and the reason why I'm tying this back to Zoro, in Little Garden, Dory and Broggy were literally the poster child of a warrior's pride. That honor that you have as a warrior. And he was inspired by them, and he used them as a model for his dream. He wants to be a brave warrior like them. Someone like a Zoro, and this is why Zoro's always been goated. He's been had that. That warrior's pride, he's been had that. So when he got trapped on the candle structure or whatever, and it seemed like there was no way out for him, he was willing to cut his legs off to make sure that he could win. He only fights to win. on some Goku shit. And it was Broggy who was actually inspired by Zoro's spirit to do the same thing. He was about to like risk his hands getting cut off just so that he can have a fighting chance, because that's what a warrior is. When Dory and Broggy when they became Domi Reversi, Usopp literally was reacting to them saying that, what happened to your warrior's pride? Like, what happened to your pride? So them turning and like not being themselves is them like their pride as a warrior being snatched from them. Zoro, as someone that had that once, that has been had that, once showed that against Broggy when he almost lost the will to fight. Zoro reignited that spirit in him to fight against Mr. 3. Him fighting against Dory and Broggy, it's kind of cold. I can't lie. Oda kind of cooked. Low-key, he kind of cooked. But that's if he goes all the way with it. Like, the idea of it, of Zoro going up against Dory and Broggy, like we saw in Little Garden, with Zoro kind of inspiring Broggy's pride. Let me find that chapter. That's why I said like a few weeks ago, for niggas to read Little Garden, bro. Little Garden is so important. Even the title of this chapter, "A Dead Body is Useless." This guy Zoro was cooking. Zoro says to Broggy, "Can he still move?" He said, "A giant without hands and feet is still more useful than a dead man." Said, "If I cut off my legs, how about we crush these guys together?" Nami and Vivi are thinking, what the fuck? This guy's a madman. You never know until you try, right? We're dead if we stay here. That's for sure. I say we go out, put in the ugliest fight we can. Broggy calls Zoro a cocky lad that almost lost the will to fight. But I'm with you, I like your spirit. This guy reignited his spirit. You're not serious, are you? Without your legs, how will you fight? She said, "I don't know, but I fight to win." Bro, that's some real shit, bro. Some real shit. This is some true warrior shit. This guy Broggy saw that and is like, yeah. Even Mr. 3 is like, oh shit. Nigga started gulping, so oh shit. I don't know, they're on demon time like that. Even Vivi thinks back to what Ingram said to her. As like, I'm with you too. So he inspired Broggy, he inspired Vivi. These guys were about to risk it all. And then Luffy came in for the save, so well done to Luffy, because we would have had a legless Zoro. Even then, this guy still cut into half his leg, if I recall correctly. I think he says in the next chapter. Yeah, no, he says right here. Nami says your legs are bleeding. So I guess I hacked about halfway through him. This guy hacked halfway through his legs just so that he could fight. That's that warrior's pride that Dory and Broggy lost by getting into Domi Reversi. And Zoro fighting them now, I fuck with it. But if they are to fight though, I want that message to be like pretty clear. You know what I mean? I want that to be very, very clear. Thoughts on Jiro's speech? I kind of said a bit of my thoughts already, but nah, I fuck with that. I fuck with the speech. The whole point of the speech is them bringing back the Warriors' pride that they lost because of Harold, pretty much. But this guy Jiro was spitting, bro. Look, hold on. This part here I fucked with so hard. Look at this. I said, listen up, you devils. If you spare the children's lives, we'll freely give up our culture and history. But if you think that you've broken our spirit, you are sorely mistaken. Do not expect Harold's patience from us. You think you can rule over us and enslave us? Who do you think you're talking to? I was like, oh my goodness, this guy Zoro put his nuts on the table. he put his giant nuts on the table and said, who the fuck do you think you are, fam? Who the fuck do you think you are coming to my house, bro? Coming to my house. Yo, where's that Michael Irvin clip? Yo, I need to find that Michael Irvin clip, bro. That's what Zoro was on. Hold on, let me find that Michael Irvin clip right now. This is the timing that Zoro was on, bro. I fuck with it. Well, hold on, let me put this on the screen, bro. This shit is perfection.
Believes in you. Listen to everybody. Nobody believes in you. What are you prepared to do about it? Don't let no one come into your house, take your meal, do what you need to do today. I'm not nervous. I'm just telling you.
That's the timing that Zoro was on, bro. That was the timing that he was on. I fuck with it. Yeah, I fuck with it. He was on some demon time. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Don't expect Harold's patience from us. Harold was on some soft nigga shit. You know what I'm saying, bro? He was on some, you know what I mean? Like, Loki kind of dissed Harold, Loki. Whatever you expected from that pussy nigga Harold, you're not gonna get that from us. From us? Hell no, bro. Hell no. He was cooking, bro. Bro, we're not gonna let you come to our house, bro. Have our meal. Are you crazy? Declared war on these niggas. But he still wants to protect the peace that Harold envisioned. You know what I mean? Cover your ears. Where did he say that to the I'm sorry children, but I must ask to cover your ears now. Oh my goodness. He was cooking. I know Zoro probably fine with it, but seeing Usopp just see Dory and Broggy getting hurt or attacking Zoro, it's like, I don't know if Oda's gonna write a full-on fight between them. I mean, Zoro's not gonna kill them, is he? Oh shit! I didn't even realize I had my mic muted for all that time. How long did I have my mic muted for, bro? What the fuck? I wasn't even AFK. I wasn't even AFK. Anyway, what I was saying was, yeah. I don't even know how long that was, but rookie mistake is what it is. What I was saying was I was gonna just list out some of the matchups that we might be getting, and I was saying Brook gets a moment versus Gunko, and I was looking back. The reason why I was skipping through like those old chapters is because I was looking back to see if there was any connection to like some thing in the past, but the only thing he says about his past, like in Thriller Bark, was that he was the leader of a convoy in a certain kingdom. This flashback here could have been in that certain kingdom, but we don't know what that kingdom was. He just said a certain kingdom. So low key, it could have just been some new shit Oda like came up with. I don't even think this was like some prior established thing. But yeah, Gunko, bro, this guy had a tone dial in his head. I didn't even remember that. He had a tone dial that had like Bing Sake playing, but now he can turn that shit off, put that shit in his head, bro. I was saying that if he pulls that shit out against Gunko and somehow like forces her to be attached from Emu, that'd be kind of crazy. But anyway, cool. So we got this. I'll say potential. Potential Luffy versus Dominirasi Loki, potentially, you know. Sanji versus Summers. All right, let me see the rest. Do you think we'll get a cutaway during the Elbaf aside from going to the Holy Land? I'd love to see Kizaru versus Mihawk match up. For example, Kizaru to let his frustration now he goes to solve the cross-code problem, but then is ultimately met by Mihawk. I think that's asking for too much, honestly. Kind of, you're dreaming, bro. But I guess you can dream, bro. It's One Piece, you know. That's what it's all about. But I don't think we're gonna get cutaways, to be fair. Not in the final battle, at least. No. We're literally in the final battle of the arc. Is not. I don't think it'll be a cutaway. Cool. Let me see. Cool. So. Rodo, Gerd, and Goldberg. Them niggas are going towards the port. They're probably gonna be with. Who's? Is Gaban gonna fight, or is he just gonna be silent? Usopp versus Cunningham would really give Usopp his moment if the monster army is handled. Yeah, but who's gonna be fighting alongside Usopp? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Usopp. But what are the rest of the Straw Hats? Who's gonna free the Straw Hats? Probably Sanji, right? Brook went. Okay, Brook probably went to Emu right now. Damn, he might get bodied, low key. He might kind of get bodied. I don't know. It's too hard to say. I'll be real. It's too hard to say. Fuck it. Not gonna lie, I forgot Lilith was on Elbaf. Yeah, Vegapunk went to build a new lab in Elbaf or whatever. This guy Brook's probably bouncing around like still wrapped up in arrows, hopping around trying to find Gunko, you know. It's probably what's happening. I'm guessing whatever kingdom Brook was talking about is where Gunko was from. He was a leader of some convoy in that kingdom, sees Gunko, whatever, and then I don't know. This guy does some soul music that reaches Gunko's heart, and then Imu's gone. And if Imu's gone because of that, then I can see a potential Domirasi from Loki. I can see it. I can see it. Even if Usopp fights killing it, bro. Usopp. Let me see. Cool. I don't know who's going to be helping Usopp though. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I don't know who's gonna help Usopp, but could be Gaban, it could be someone else, Jinbei maybe. I don't know. Zage is Yamato, stronger than but equal to Law, stronger than equal to Zoro, equal to Sanji, stronger than equal to Marco, stronger than Kid. Fair. I would say no. I have a couple of problems with that skill at least. Brook free enough. Yeah, you're right. Brook, yeah, Loki. Can't lie. Let's say that. Let's say that. Yeah, let's say that. How do you spell Harridan's name? Is it like that? Like that? I think that's right. Bro, Usopp does not have it solo, bro. Leave it. you tweak it. Change number 3 to Zoro and Sanji versus Dorian Broggy, and Luffy is not being Domirasi Loki. I mean, if the matchup happens, then Luffy's gonna win. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna win. But I can see why you would doubt it. Zoro and Sanji fighting Dorian Broggy. I don't know how likely that is, bro. I'll be honest. Because Summers exists. Unless Gaban's gonna run the fade back with Summers again, I don't really see the point in that. I think Sanji vs Summers just makes too much sense. It makes too much sense. And I don't see Sanji fighting Summers and also fighting like another major fight. Because I think Zoro against Dorian Broggy will probably be his like only major fight. It's probably not going to get like another major fight outside of that. So I don't really see it. I'll say. So I think Hiruden with Zoro makes sense. At least that's what it's shaping up to be. Then you have. Let me think about main matchups instead of like side fights, because I can see Daru fighting Dorian Broggy for a little bit as well. I can see that because that's who they're trying to kill, so I can see that. I kind of like. I saw someone say that Zoro might just cut the branch. He might like just cut their footing, Dorian Broggy's footing. They fall to the underworld, and then Loki and Luffy just beat the fuck out of them. But that's kind of ass. Can't lie. That's gonna sacrifice Zoro's moment. I don't want that. Fuck that. No. Who else? Gotta think. Who would best help Usopp? Robin with Summers. Does Robin get the fade back with Summers again? Oh no. I don't see it. Maybe Dorian Broggy get freed and then they go help Usopp against killing him. Maybe that's what happens. And then Zoro and Hiruden just beat up the rest of the Domiroversi guys. The thing is, there's quite a lot of Domiroversi like giants. So I guess like yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Ah, cool. Is there anything I'm missing? Anything that I haven't said yet? Let me see the chat. I don't know if there's anything I'm missing. Can't lie. Let me flick through. What's up, Ringo? What's up? I don't know what I'm missing. Is there some? I don't see Shamrock coming back. I don't see it. I think whatever's happening in the Holy Land, I think is significant enough for him not to come back. I'll be kind of shocked if he comes back, to be honest. Because then what does he do? Like, I don't even know how he's involved in this arc, if I'm being honest. Because the whole point of this whole giant battle against the world government want the giant's military force. They want the giant military force for the final war, pretty much. They want to subjugate the Elbaf by kidnapping the kids. That's the stakes, pretty much. The Straw Hats and Elbaf are trying to get rid of the Celestial Dragons before the kids get kidnapped, because otherwise they have leverage in Strong Arm and Elbaf to work with them. That's pretty much the stakes. So Shamrock coming back, I mean it was his idea. Funnily enough, this shit was his idea. At least I think so. I think it was his idea, but I don't know what he does at that point. To be fair, I don't know what else he does. Actually, what about the Nightmare Army? Fuck. Just thought about the Nightmare Army. Who the fuck's gonna fight the Nightmare Army? Usopp. Damn. Usopp just gonna disable it. They're not even gonna beat the Nightmare Army, they're just gonna disable it. Damn, I don't even know, bro. It's too early. It's actually too early to like get some of those mini matchups like all down pat. It's kind of too much to say. Dragon and Shiki invade Holy Land. Bro, Shiki is a crazy pool. Where the hell did you get Shiki from? That's a crazy pool. Maybe Killingham and Dory vs Zoro and Summers and Broggy vs Sanji. Bro, you want this Zoro, Sanji, Dory and Broggy fight so bad. That's what it seems like. So they're both in 1v2s. Oh no, seems like a reach. Can't lie. Seems like a reach. To be fair, like after watching Morge's video yesterday about the matchups, I kind of agree with him. I'll be right. I think he laid out the matchups pretty well. If you haven't seen it, I would suggest watching it. A pretty good video. Dragon must have some strong allies and Shiki is the only one. The only option. Bro, like, what the hell is Shiki doing in the Holy Land? Or what the hell is he doing with Dragon? When the hell did this guy become a revolutionary? You know how many questions there are if Shiki ends up being with Dragon? So many questions. Like, how the fuck did that happen? The last canon moment that we saw from Shiki, this guy was gonna bring back a plan to show the world where the true terror of pirates are. That ended up being Strong World, not even flipping canon. He goes from saying that to fuck it, I'm gonna join the revolutionaries. That is butt. That's what that is. That is straight butt. I don't know. I think that's about all there is to say. Let me go through the chapter one more time. I can't lie, this part of Jaru's speech when he was saying, he kind of twisted the story a little bit to make Loki seem a little better. He framed it as if Harold went up against the government. He fought dying them, like as in he got killed fighting against the world government, and Loki took the blame for it. I witnessed the demon slaughter Harold and the rest of his soldiers. Harold resisted, bending the knee and handing over Elbaf to the demon. He fought and he died. But if the people learned the truth, they would rise up in vengeance and become warfare a nation that Harold did not desire. So I held my silence. Loki, meanwhile, bore the rage of the nation upon his back and took to sea. That part, I guess, is true, but maybe tactless, but Loki's innocent. I can't. A bit inaccurate, but a nice turn of phrase. Can't lie, that it was a nice turn of phrase. Alright, Shiki was supposed to carry out his plan in 20 years, which is now. When he and Dragon invade, just like Dragon, he wants to take down the world government, and Shiki has to return somehow. Yeah, but Shiki's whole thing is that he wanted to like conquer the New World. He just wanted to like reign supreme as like a king that just dominated the entire New World. That was his whole thing. And then his plan involved like bringing real terror to the world and like showing the world what the true terror of pirates are. After Roger died. So I don't see it. Yamato mastered King's Haki that puts her above all who hasn't. Amongst conquerors, I'd agree, yeah. Not everybody though. I can't lie, they could have done with Yamato's help in Elbaf, low key, bro, with these holy knights running around. Low key, they could have done with their help, and the Domirasi army. They could have done with Yamato's help, but too bad she stayed behind. Too bad. I actually liked Yamato, man. You know, one of the Yamato combos I hate the most, bro, is that whole Odin thing. That conversation is so annoying. I'll be so raw. It's the most annoying thing. And it has nothing to do with Yamato, it has everything to do with what people say about it. I don't see what the big deal about Yamato being so inspired by Odin and moved by Odin that she assumed Odin's like identity. People try to make it seem like she was supposed to have this character arc where she had some identity crisis and that she was supposed to resolve. That was not even the point. She just had like she just had like a big infatuation of Odin and what he stood for. That's pretty much all it was. I think people made that conversation so weird for no reason, man. Honestly. But it is what it is. And that shit is annoying though. Every time I have to see that shit on the timeline every couple of months or so. Baby Zephyr is also canon and betrayed the Marines in the past to become an ally of Dragon, just like Shiki. Bro, you want Dragon to have the most stacked army. You know, at that point, like, what the hell is Sabo number 2 for? Bro, if he's got Zephyr and Shiki as part of the Revolutionary, what the fuck is Sabo doing? At that point, Sabo's number 2 is the fakest number 2, bro. You are the fakest number 2 chain if them two are on the crew, bro, at that point. But it's some good fanfic though. It's some good fanfic, man. I'll give it to you. Anyway, I don't wanna drag on the stream for any longer. Appreciate everyone that pulled up and stayed to the end. Join the Discord if you haven't done so already. The link is in the description. There's no break next week, so same time next week should be what everyone should be expected. Unless it's some boring chapter, then I probably won't pull up, but I doubt it because Zoro's about to cook. So if Zoro's about to cook, then you know I'm gonna be there. Sabo's number 2 of the Revs, Shiki and Sabo's number 2 of the Revs. Shiki and Revs are heads of allied divisions, and yes, Shiki and his army cannot be weak. Yeah, but then, like I said, bro, like Sabo's number 2 chain, this is fake at that point, bro. And I'm not taking no Sabo upskill, I'm sorry. At least not at this point in the story. I'm not taking it. Anyway, I'll catch you guys next week, man. Take care of yourselves.